Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Edit Place, and today I'm going to be showing you 6 hidden features inside of DaVinci Resolve that you may have passed up. All the tools we're going to be talking about today, I think, will make your editing life much better, and they're pretty basic, so nothing too crazy advanced here. Let's dive right into the first one. One of my favorite selling points of DaVinci Resolve, especially when I'm showing it to Premiere people, is dynamic zoom. So taking a look at this intro right here, we can see that we just have some nice static tripod shots. And if I wanted to do, say, a long kind of zoom in on my face here, just nice slow push, I could go over here, hit a keyframe, and then I can go to the end point where I want it to stop. And I can adjust my position, my zoom strength, all that good stuff. Pretty simple. And now we have a nice zoom in. But of course, if I change the length of this clip at all, if I really manipulate it in any way, I'm going to have to reset or change those parameters. So a much faster and better way to do it is dynamic zoom. So I'm just going to turn it on here. And by default, if we select dynamic zoom, we can see we have a linear zoom out is the default. So you can see it's zooming out nice and slow. If I want to zoom in, then I will do it this way, and this conforms to the length of your clip. So if you have a really long clip, it's going to do really nice slow from start to finish, depending on how much you're zooming in and out, which we'll take a look at. But if I shrink the clip, it will go to the same start and end points, but of course at a different speed. So if we want to refine it a bit more, we can go to our little effects like transform overlay panel over here, and we'll see one for dynamic zoom. And you'll see 2 boxes, green and red. Green just means your start point, red just means your end. And so if we swap these, you can see the colors change because we're either starting zooming in to zooming out or vice versa. So if I want to do a push in here, you can see that right now it's going a decent distance. If you want it to be even more subtle, then you'll just drag the red box up and we can immediately see that it's a much slower zoom in. But if I want something crazy, then I can make a big difference between the two. And now you'll see when I play, it's zooming in a lot faster. You'll also notice the position is a lot easier to change too. If I grab this box, you can see that if I want to keep it dead center, then I just want to have that dot kind of alone in the middle there. But if I want to slowly zoom into some background element, then I can just drag the red box up there and you can see it's going to be pushing in to that. If I want to reverse this, it's as simple as just click swap. And now we do some sort of reveal. So way faster, way easier to refine the movements than going in and keyframing. And again, you can also go in here and do some easing in and out if that's the style of movement you want. But dynamic zoom is definitely one of the best features that I think any newcomer to Resolve can dive into. Number 2, live save and backups. Now, I believe in current versions of Resolve, this is on by default, but it used to not be. So let's double check to make sure that it is. For this, we want to go up to DaVinci Resolve, Preferences, and under User, make sure you're under User here, not System, you will see Project Save and Load. And the things that I want you to take a look at is Live Save and Timeline Backups. The difference between these two here is Live Save is basically removes any need for saving or smashing that Command S that, again, I just have a history of having to do in Premiere. Every time you click a button, it is going to immediately save the project. So every new edition of a clip, every cut, every tweak, it is automatically saving the project every time you do one of those, so that if there is the occasional crash, power goes out, whatever, when you boot the project back up, you should be right where you left off. Now for timeline backups, this is actually creating different versions of your projects, and you can perform the backup at different intervals. I think I just have it left at the defaults here, and this is great for if there's just a big mistake or a big change that like you come into the edit and you're like, oh my gosh, this is all messed up. I know it was fine last night. You can go back to a previous backup and restore the project to that time period. Number 3, playback resolution and bypass. Probably the most common question I get has to do with lagging timelines. Depending on the machine that you're using, in this grade on this video, for example, is a pretty heavy grade. It's got some effects, it's got a lot of grain, halation, bloom. Now my computer's handling it pretty well right now, but there's definitely times where I have a crazy project and it's kind of getting bogged down. So the best way, if you want to not impact your playback without changing project settings, because you don't really want to go in and make a 4K timeline, then 1080, and then when you go to export it, you have to resize it back up. So many issues can happen there. So instead, go up to playback, timeline playback resolution, and actually I can see why it's playing back a little bit better because I have it set to half. So you can adjust between half or full, half, and quarter resolution. So right now, actually you can see when I do playback, I'm only getting about 17 frames where this should be 24. So you can see it's lagging a bit. So that's where I'd go under here. And now I'm getting consistent playback. And if it really gets crazy, then I can go to quarter. Now my preview then obviously becomes impacted. You can see all the letters become more blurry and kind of grainy and stuff. But this is just for editing. If I go to deliver and export this video right now, it's going to export at the full quality. So you don't have to worry about like coming back here and changing it back to full or anything. It will export normally. Now, if that still doesn't help and you're really having issues, or just a different way to edit more smoothly is going to be bypass. Now, if you have one of these fancy color panels right here, there's a specific bypass button, and you can pretty much see what it did. It basically removes all effects on your footage. So again, this is great for if you have a really complex project, maybe you're later in the edit, you have color grades, you have titles and effects and all that stuff, but now you want to make some trims and it's just lagging and not performing the way you want. You can either hit the bypass button or click the on-screen control right up here, and you'll see this little X or dash through the line there. And now everything's going to go back to its log or just whatever its base layer is, and your playback should significantly be better. Now, keep in mind, this removes all effects. That includes titles. There's been many a time where I have bypass turned off or turned on, and then I'm going to play back and I'm like, what the heck? My title's down here. I don't see it, or this effect or transition or whatever. And you got to remember, it removes everything. So this transition that was here, which normally looks like that, if I have bypass turned on, it's now just black. So just make sure if you're not seeing an effect that you think you should, make sure you have bypass turned off at that point. All right, so next up is on-screen transform controls without using the number values. Now this one is somewhat in the realm of dynamic zoom, but this one is more about when you're doing a total like reframe and not necessarily like a push in or push out. So let's say we wanted to reframe and we have a bunch of different clips that we need to do it on. In this case, like maybe, you know, the mic's kind of peeking through, or you just have a project where a bunch of your clips, you need to go in and make adjustments. Now you could select the clip, go up here to zoom, you know, you do this, you grab your position, you go left and right, up and down. Okay, that one looks good, but now I need to reframe this one. So I'm going to zoom in, again, position. Your eyes are constantly having to switch between your inspector, which is looking at 4 different values, and then the screen to make sure that the adjustments are actually moving to the right place. While working with the number values in the inspector is powerful and definitely refined if you're making very small movements, if you're doing it a bunch, I recommend going to the same spot that we messed with dynamic zoom, but the very first one is transform. This one allows you to basically just grab your image, and if I zoom out so I can clearly see my preview pane here, you can actually see the entire image here. And just like anything else, like you're working in Photoshop or something, you can just grab the edges, resize it. We can just quickly drag the image over here. If I go back to this shot, then I can do the same thing and just grab it. And I'm maintaining, essentially looking at the image the whole time to make sure that I have the adjustments made that I want to. And you can just see how much faster you can go through a bunch of different clips. Now, there's a little bonus in here with the transform tools called AI Smart Reframe. And for this, I'm actually going to open up a new timeline, and we're going to make this a vertical format because this is where I really use this feature all the time. So I'm actually going to grab something from Gabby's dance thing here, right? And he's doing his moves and everything. I want him to be center frame, so I could move this over here. Okay, zoom out a little bit. Boom, now he's center frame. But the problem is that he's always moving, and it stays okay. And yeah, see, he dips out of the frame a bit. So rather than keyframing all these different camera movements, trying to keep them centered, DaVinci Resolve makes it crazy easy. Go into AI Smart Reframe, Object of Interest. I'm going to set to auto. This is a very perfect scenario because we have basically a singular subject that's in frame currently and a plain background. Should be pretty easy. And I'm going to leave it open to all types of movements, panning or tilting. And then I'm just going to hit reframe. It's going to analyze the clip pretty quickly. And now if we play this back, we can see that it keeps him in frame the whole time, obviously, unless he actually dips out of where my camera actually was. But yeah, transform tools, AI Smart Reframe, great tools to know. Number 5, power bins. We all know our media bins over here. This is going to have all of the assets for your specific project. If you go to these 3 little dots right here, turn on show power bins, it's going to pop up in the middle here. And this is a great place where you can store assets that you use across your database. So any sound effects that I commonly use in all of my different projects, I keep in here so that I can easily access them and I don't have to re-import them every single time I create a new project. But you can load anything in there. You can do titles, you can do graphics, whatever you want. And finally, number 6, we're actually going to head over to the color page, and I want to switch over to the HDR wheels because there's a really hidden feature in here that I don't think a lot of people know about that I really enjoy. And that is the kind of spotlight area button. I don't really know what else to call it. Basically, you have dark, shadow, light, you have specular, highlights. HDR has a lot of different areas that are impacted. And if I click this button at the top left of each color wheel and press and hold, it actually shows you on screen the areas that will be affected if you use that wheel. So this is my light area. If I go into my shadow area, my dark area, and there's a relatively dark image, so it doesn't even have a highlight or specular area. But it's just a really neat way to impact a very specific part of your image if you're trying to make adjustments to it and actually see the areas without having to make qualifiers and masks and all that sort of stuff. So there you have it. Those are the 6 features that I think are useful and kind of hidden inside of DaVinci Resolve. If you really enjoyed taking a deep dive, you're just getting started with Resolve, or you're switching over from another program, definitely check out the top link in the description. It's my Resolve Foundations course, which helps you fully switch over, get comfortable into DaVinci Resolve in 3 videos or less. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.